Excuse me?
What word or phrase would you use to characterize?
It's not over yet, so you can ask me that one next week.
Matthew Stafford, who started despite the lower back pain and some missed practice over the last few weeks, has handed it off to Matt Castle here with the game well in hand for the Vikings.
You're such a competitor. Obviously, what's your head when you get pulled in the fourth quarter and you hear the fans cheering?
Oh, it's frustrating that's the way the game went. Coach makes those decisions. I always want to be out there, understand where he's coming from with it. He knows what I'm dealing with and going through. So, as far as fans' reaction, doesn't make any difference to me.
I hate you. I love you. I hate that I want you. You want you need her, and I'll never be.
And welcome into the WDFN Tailgate with Adam and Ryan. Your only, when I say only, I mean the only Lions pregame show where Matthew Stafford hates at least 50% of this show. Welcome aboard.
He doesn't hate you. He just doesn't respect you.
Is that what that is? Oh, there's something there. Me and him have to go break bread. We have to talk about what's going on here because every time I ask a question in the presser, he always gives me a flippant answer, and I don't know why.
Well,
are they bad questions? You posted on Twitter last week that they're bad questions. Are they bad questions? I don't think they are.
no, last week's was fair. It was a fair question. It was a fair answer from Stafford.
Yeah.
Like, he had no reason to answer that this week.
It was just the look of disgust in his face.
It wasn't your fault. I think it came from Michael Rothstein's previous question when he asked if he expected coaching changes in the offseason. That got the real disgusted look. And then you swooped in to ask about...
So it was timing. I have bad timing is what
Yes.
you're saying.
Yeah, wait till friend of DFN, Justin Rogers.
Yes, let him come in and ask a question. Or maybe Dave Briquette or just anybody else, right? Pretty much anybody else. On the I hate list of Matt Stafford, it's Michael Rothstein and it's Adam Strozynski. That's what it is.
I was surprised he rode the elevator with us after the game.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Because everybody talks about how this guy doesn't hate the media. His words when he got on the elevator was, "Oh, all my favorite people."
Right.
He was so salty.
But the thing is, like, he's done this twice with us. Rode up the elevator.
I know.
And I'm honestly surprised he would just ride the elevator up with anyone.
Me too.
So I'll give him credit. I mean, it's a 30-second elevator ride, so he's not that petty.
But he is so salty.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you be?
I guess, but like this is my issue with the Lions and their issue with the Detroit media. We're out here trying to do a job. The one thing that we do,
and he's not?
No, he's trying to do his job. He performs every single Sunday. He goes out there and he performs every single Sunday. But we have a job to do too. We have questions we have to ask.
But he doesn't blow the media off. He doesn't.
No, but he doesn't answer any questions. And then when he does answer questions, he's usually pretty flippant about it. Like he was with Rothstein, like he was with me. He did answer a couple questions there. I mean, Rodgers asked a great question, and and you heard it in that open there, where how did he feel about the fans cheering when Matt Castle was announced as taking his place on the field? I mean, he gave a decent answer, but he doesn't give you anything. And as a reporter, as a radio guy who's asking questions, has an interest in an investment in this team, you're looking for something. And they give you nothing every single week, whether it be Matt Patricia, who we're going to talk about at 10:15. We want to know what grade you're going to give Matt Patricia for this season, or if it's just Matt Stafford just up there asking questions that you feel he should answer. You get nothing from them. Absolutely nothing. I think that's what's so frustrating for fans. I know it's frustrating for me. Look, simple, right? My question. What would you describe, what word or phrase would you describe this season as? He could have said disappointing. Fair enough answer.
Well, and
we move on.
It was fair enough for him to say, I'll wait till next week.
It absolutely was.
Because the season is not over. So, like, I don't have a problem with his answer to you because the season wasn't over yet.
Right.
But it also was a fair question. It can go both ways. People don't like it when when there's that gray area, but there is.
And I think this season has been a disappointment. What is the one thing that could have saved this season? You guys can let us know, 248-848-1130. Also, feel free to use the text line at 77979. We've got a Twitter poll out there. What could have saved this Lions season? A different head coach, because it got off to a very rocky start. Kerryon Johnson not getting hurt. A win against Dallas. Ryan said earlier this year, I think that was week 4, maybe it was week 5, if they lose to Dallas, the season is over. And those were prophetic words that Ryan spoke. We also have other out there, so if there's something else that could have saved this season, you can respond to that.
Some quick responses on Twitter already. Mm-hmm. Kurt, new OC from the start.
Mm-hmm. And I agree.
And then let me find the other one. Mr. G. Kennard, new ownership.
You always get the new ownership.
It's a fair one, but it's never going to happen.
No.
It's a fair complaint.
I find that one to be easy. It's the easy way out. Martha's trying. I think Martha is trying.
Right.
I think Mr. Ford, he was too loyal to all of his players. I'm not trying to make excuses here, because I flame this organization almost every chance I get because they upset me so much. But new ownership, I think, is the easy way out, because Martha is trying to do things. She went to the league and said, hey, give me somebody so I know how to hire a new head coach, how to hire a new GM. They went out there and they got Jim McCorsey, who came in and set up a search, and that's what brought you Bob Quinn. Bob Quinn then brought you Matt Patricia. So she's trying. She's doing her damnedest. It's not like she doesn't spend the money. She does spend the money. You know, they're right there at the upper half of the league in how much they spend every single year. So she's spending the money. It's just there's the results aren't there on the field, and that's what's so frustrating. For me, it was Kerryon Johnson. All right, you had an OC who struggled to get him going early this year, and then he finally figured out, hey, I've got something here. And the moment that he found out that he had something, he tended to play him properly. Anytime Kerryon Johnson carried the ball over 15 times in a game, they won. They won the game. He just had to touch the ball 15 times as a running back, not as a receiver, as a running back. He averaged 5.4 yards a carry this season as a rookie. Let that sink in, guys. 5.4 yards a carry. Before Kerryon Johnson, your average as a running back from the running back position was usually 2.9, maybe 3, maybe 3.1. This guy comes in 5.4 yards as a rookie. In the loss to Dallas, this is going back to that Dallas game where Ryan said their season is done if they lose this game. In that loss to Dallas, he touched the ball only 10 times. 10 times. If you'd have force-fed him, it might have been different. In the loss to Seattle, he only touched the ball 14 times, and that was another big game and another black eye for this team. And that's in the run and the pass game. That's not as a running back. As a running back, if he touches the ball 15 times, they always won. In DVOA is an advanced metric. It's an advanced stat. It's defensive adjusted value over average. So what that means is the number represents the value per play over an average running back in the same game situation. I know it's a whole lot there. But he was 4th best in the league up until he got hurt. Even after he got hurt. At this point in the season, he's still 4th best in the league, behind only Todd Gurley, Derrick Henry, and Melvin Gordon. Let that sink in. Those are elite running backs. Maybe not Derrick Henry, but Melvin Gordon and Todd Gurley.
Derrick Henry had a great year, though.
He did. For a guy who was shelved the majority of the year, when they finally went back to him, he exploded. He's exploded down the stretch here. So for me, it was Kerryon Johnson. The misuse and the mishandling of Kerryon Johnson early, and then him getting hurt late in the year, has really spelt doom for this team. I think you add a running back, something that Matt Stafford hasn't ever had his entire career here. You add that element, I think it takes a load off of him. I think it changes the way he goes about his business. I think it changes the way he gets in and out of games. I think it adds more offense to this already beleaguered offense that has struggled. You guys can let us know what you think at 248-848-1130. Also, feel free to text us at 77979. Feel free to utilize Twitter at 1130 or Facebook at 1130 WDFN. We've got John on the phone. And John, what's going on?
The thing that I think is causing the biggest issue right now with the Detroit Lions is lack of leadership. Think about this, guys. The Detroit Lions are paying their quarterback $27 million, and they don't expect leadership from him. Who on that team is a leader? Is it Darius Slay? Half the time you can't even understand what he's saying when you guys interview him. Is it a guy like Ricky Jean-Francois? How are you going to respect a guy that's 32 years old making $900K in the league? If you look across the 53-man roster, who's going to stand up and lead? Is it Matt Patricia, the head coach? This week, the news of the week has been the dude can't show up on time anywhere. And you look at the organization top to bottom, and it's just super frustrating that there's lack of leadership to move this thing forward from the top down. And I don't really think anything could have saved this season. And when we're going to start over again in 2019, you got to have questions at basically every position. You got questions at coach, general manager, and it just leads everybody, fans of the Lions, really to be frustrated with what's happening. And I really don't think anything's going to save the Lions this year or next year.
John, if you had to change one piece, whether it be general manager Bob Quinn...
You can't say ownership.
You can't say ownership. Whether it be general manager Bob Quinn, head coach Matt Patricia, or quarterback Matt Stafford, who's the one person that you would change out and that you would want to see more leadership brought in from?
Obviously, it'd be the quarterback. I mean, most people would assume that the quarterback position would lead the team. It's the highest paid guy. But whether it be the Lions telling Stafford to keep it quiet, whether it be Stafford's lack of innate talent to be a leader, it's just a situation in which somebody's got to take the reins in that locker room, and sometimes it might be on the defense, it might be somebody that steps up on the offensive line. Somebody's got to step up and be a leader on that team. It ain't Matthew Stafford, so what's going to happen is you're going to have to build a team around him and just let him basically not mess up the entire game. And that's unfortunate when you look across the league as what's happening right now. Most teams, the leader of the team is the quarterback. And unfortunately, here in Detroit, it's lacking, and it's really frustrating for everybody that supports the Lions.
All right, John, thanks for the call. Well, I think he brought up some good points there. At some point, the Detroit Lions are going to have to move on from Matthew Stafford. Leadership has been called into question throughout the majority of this season. It's been frustrating as a Lions fan to watch this team basically sink in the quicksand that is their own mess. It's been extremely frustrating. You guys can feel free to call in at 248-848-1130. Also, feel free to text us at 77979. Utilize Twitter and Facebook. We're all over the socials. This is the WDFN Tailgate with Admin Ryan on Detroit's own 1130 WDFN, The Fan.